Welcome to Reunite with Self podcast. I'm your host, Rukan. Here, we will be discovering and unraveling what is truly holding you back. We will put the puzzle together and give you clarity on how and what you can do to create massive shift in your life so you start creating the life you always envisioned for yourself. There is no more waiting. Whether it is liberating from dysfunctional family patterns or parenting tools and tips that actually make the difference, we will be diving into the truth and core of things that are simple and which yet no one talks about. I will be sharing with you all the things that would have changed my life massively if I heard any one of these episodes. A new world is awakening, and true bliss, harmony, and peace is possible on this earth. And my mission is to bring you closer to that, one step at a time. In this safe space, I will hold your hand and give you courage and certainty that you can shift anything and everything in your life. It is time we break the pattern. Whether you want to be the parent you never had or make a shift in your life so you don't play small any longer, you will find the support and guidance in this space. My intention is for you to find answers within yourself while you listen to this podcast, so you feel the bliss of reuniting with your true essence, with self, with so much love and compassion and courage. From my heart to yours, let's keep it rockin'. Hello, my gorgeous listener. Welcome to another episode on Reunite with Self. I am so grateful that you are here. I would have loved to listen to this episode even like 3 years ago. It would have changed my life. Like it would have really impacted my life. So today's topic is the sneaky self-sabotage, the paralyzed days when you don't do anything. I think I am going to name this episode somewhere around this. So if you've clicked on this episode and if you're listening to this, first of all, thank you for being here. I see you, I hear you. This is something that I had a lot of experience around without realizing, by the way. So it's really precious to me that I'm doing this episode. And I was having dinner with a friend that I work with a friend now, with a dear friend. He's an artist. I work with him on my property in Brazil. And over dinner, we were talking about something. Actually, it began before. He was telling me that he spent the whole Sunday sitting on the couch. And he didn't tell it, by the way, he knows that I'm doing this episode. He didn't tell me in a way that he was happy about it. And, it was such a busy time for me. Like when I heard it, it kind of sounded nice to me that he spent the whole day doing nothing. So it didn't sound bad to me, but the way he was telling me, I know that there was something he wasn't like fulfilled or satisfied with it, or that it wouldn't have been his choice really to have that experience. So as we kept talking, and we were talking over dinner, and he was telling me that. So I asked him what he feels like. Why does he feel like spending a whole day on the couch is a bad thing? And he told me that it's a pattern, and that this happens, not doing anything happens when he feels like he's not enough. And he was articulating it more and thinking about it really, like what made him do that and what he was feeling. And he was telling me that as an artist, he was sometimes he's hard on himself, and he thinks that, by the way, he's amazing. He's very talented. He's gonna be something big. Like I can see it, and in a way that will satisfy him, like give him fulfillment for sure. He's in his 20s. He's very, very talented. He's like super talented and he understands me so well. We speak the same language and he creates just beauty. And he was telling me that two things, that he doesn't feel like he's enough, but more than that, that whatever he does, whatever he brings out to the world, like his work is not enough. He would always find a way, criticize it, and think to himself, I could have done this better. And we were talking about it. And just one thing here I want to mention. Like I was telling him, hunger in your work is so essential. Like having hunger, being hungry is like maybe number one thing to be able to be successful, because you're hungry always for more and you know there is always another level. Like this is fantastic. But when we work, I think there is a fine line between this. Like we can always know that whatever work we put out there or whatever we do, we accomplish, we get done, we serve, whatever it is, we know that, like knowing that we can always do better is a great thing. But if you are coming from a place that you are looking at the work that you do and you criticize yourself or think that there is something lacking in it, that it's not enough, that, my friend, creates the paralyzed days for many people. Like, there are reasons that we don't take action. But one of them is that I believe, like a common thing, one of the main reasons why people don't go after what they want, like not just like going after once, like doing the necessary steps every single day, like what is necessary to do that would have felt natural to you if you did not have any self-doubt. What stops you from taking that action is fear of failure most of the time. It is fear of failure, fear of not being enough, and thus not being lovable, not being worthy to be lovable, and all sorts of stuff. And we're going to go deep into this now. But this conversation was basically the inspiration behind this episode, because sometimes the simplest things is really what we need. And this is something that would have really helped me in my journey if I heard this episode. So the sneaky self-sabotage that we don't even realize, and we think that it's more complicated than it is. Sometimes, when I'm taking business coachings and things like this, I'm in circles where I hear other people's experience as well, and they're wondering, like, they have this passion for this work, they have their own work, they have their own business, or they're just passionate to bring something to the world, to help other people, to give value to others, but they're not taking the necessary actions. And they know deep down that they are not taking the necessary actions. So the results show that. And they're trying to understand why they're not taking the actions. So the main reason that I see, and I just want to scream it out of my lungs sometimes, the reason that someone does not take action doesn't just come from their experience as adults, or in this example, maybe in my friend's experience, that he's as an artist evaluating or criticizing his work as an adult artist. The problem is not coming from there. And as I was asking questions to him, it started coming out. And I asked him, so who was criticizing you when you were a child? And he responded that his parents don't criticize him, but he thought that I was asking him about his work and his parents criticizing it or not. That was not the question. And then he got it. And then, it got deeper. And I'm sure he had some revelations as well. So what I want to talk about today, the days that you feel paralyzed, the days that you don't take action, the days that you spend your day on the couch, lying, not doing anything, or you feel paralyzed, you're on your desk, and you are not taking the actions. A common thing is that you feel frustrated. You feel frustrated maybe with someone, with the world, and most importantly, actually with yourself. And this might be hidden too. Like, you self-criticize or you blame someone else, but you just stay there. You don't move. In my case, in my experience, I would criticize someone else. I would feel a lot of anger towards someone else when I would feel frustrated. But what I realized at the end of it all is that I was actually feeling all that anger towards myself without realizing it, because I was just wasting my energy on something that I have no control over. And I would just waste my time and energy, which is so, so, so precious. Most importantly there, that I would not take the actions that were necessary to move the needle. And that was my way of self-sabotaging. By the way, it looked from outside as if I was taking all the actions. I was never someone who did not have motivation. Like, that's not my problem in the world. We all have things that we work on. My thing is that I never have time, and I never had the problem of not having motivation. I always had. I have a lot of fire in my chart, in my astrological chart. I have a lot of fire. I take action. So it was very hidden. It seemed as if I was taking a lot of action, but I was just like pedaling against the water, against the current. It was not what would get me. I gave this example on another episode. I was like trying, I'm using it consciously. I don't like to use the word try, but I was like trying to sell something, hiding it. Like, how can you sell something when you hide it? And of course, I had my reasons in the moment. So we always have our reasons why we are doing something, but it's just like so paradoxical. Like, it's not going to work. Like, that's not how you get things done if you really want to get it done, or if you want to go somewhere, or if you want to accomplish something, or if you want to get some result, or if you want to make any difference in someone's life. So the common experience in this is, it might look or sound or feel different, but it's usually you're in your head a lot, you self-criticize, or you criticize someone else, blame someone else, or feel anger towards someone else or some situation. You stay there, you go into loops in your mind, you are not really in your body. Like, this is very important. In those moments, you are not in the moment. You are not in your body. So this is a very much like freeze reaction, like you freeze. And you don't take action or the necessary actions that would get you the results or move the needle. And you feel consciously or unconsciously that you are not enough, or you are not worthy, or life is too hard, or this requires so much work that it's so far off your journey, like whatever it is. And this is the biggest form of self-sabotage, I believe. Being paralyzed is the biggest form of self-sabotage because there is no momentum. Because even if you make mistakes along the way and you might rush, you might take action without thinking too much or whatever it is, and like you might F up some stuff. But I believe that is very different because you get experience, you meet new people, you have momentum. There is like the energy is moving in that situation. The energy is not stuck. But what we are talking about today is the sneaky self-sabotage where you feel stuck. And the more stuck you feel and the more you don't take action, your frustration goes up And the more frustrated you feel, the less action you take. And I'm talking about, when I say action, you might be doing things that day. But I'm talking about like deep down in your heart with that passion for that work or whatever it is. You know that you can do better. This can be, by the way, like, taking care of your body or moving your body or whatever it is. Like, you know that you can do better in this case. Like, you know that there is more in you and this is what is required. Like, you know it deep down, even if you don't like consciously think about it. And that's why you feel frustrated. My experience with this was, by the way, I'll give you another example. I was working in a job, let's say. It was not my own business. I was working somewhere where I did not feel passion for. Like, I did not feel like I had anything special inside of me that I can add to that work. So it was just business, and it was my family business. I'll give you more information about it, I guess, on another episode, but I would work my ass off. I would work a lot. I did not feel any passion for it. I did not really feel connected to it. It was bringing a lot of cash, but I was just like, and there was like so many other problems in that situation. But what I want to say is that I was actually spending my energy on something. And I'm so grateful, by the way, for all of that experience, so precious for my journey. But I would come home, let's say late from work or a lot of traveling. I was living out of my suitcase, going to places I did not want to, working in a very masculine environment, like it was just men and just me. And I was just like not passionate about it. By the way, if I'm passionate, I can do anything I want. Like, it doesn't matter if women are involved in it or not. I don't care. But it was just something that that was not my path. And what I would feel when I would come home from work, and my friends, whatever, who was around me, like, they would not be able to see why I would feel this way, but because it seemed as if I was bringing value to something. I was doing something. I was working in something. But I would feel so frustrated because I would feel like, really, I would feel like my soul is like dying inside of me. And I know this feeling so well. And if you have any experience about this, and if you have any questions, please DM me at Kevela on my Instagram. It's in the show notes. Please DM me, ask me your question, and I would do an episode on it. I have like had many, many, many years of this experience, and I know that I can give you a lot of guidance on this. But I was feeling as if my soul was shrinking inside my body, and I would feel as if I had done nothing that day. And it seemed as if I was this independent, courageous, whatever woman. But I was feeling every day that I was dying because I think I don't remember who said it, but it's like the biggest death when you don't use the energy inside of you. Because we all have gifts. We all have this creative force, whatever it may look like on the outside. But we all have this energy. And if you don't use it, you die inside. I think that's like the worst death while you're alive. You're just dying every day because you know deep down that there is more to life and there is more things that you can give. And that giving and that creation is what gives you fulfillment. And we're all here to use that energy. So when you actually use that energy, you fill up with more energy. Like, doing things that I love the most brings me more energy. I maybe work, I don't know, I don't want to say I work more. I do 20 times more things now in my daily life, 20 times more. But I never feel frustrated, thank God. And the kind of tiredness I have is just gone with, I don't know, a 2-hour on the beach, or just like, I don't even need to take the weekend off. It's just 2 hours with a friend, with someone on the beach, whatever. And then I'm like, I can go back to work now. Like, I want to go back to work actually, because it just gives me life. It doesn't suck the life out of me. So there might be different components, but what I want to talk to you about today is it all comes from family, my dear. It all comes from whoever criticized you or other things constantly around you when you were a toddler, a kid, a child, a teenager, in your 20s, whatever. Who criticized you or who criticized other people and things around you when you were a child, so that you became hyper aware of, you had this false belief that things need to be perfect and your work needs to be perfect. There is no such thing, by the way. It's just pure fear. Like, perfectionism is pure fear. And that's what stops you from like getting things out there. Like, I'm not doing a great job. Like, I'm not doing a perfect job in this podcast. Who cares? Like, it is so valuable for me to put this thing out, because like, even if it changes someone's, like just one person's life in the tiniest bit of way, I've done my job, because I would, like, there is no money value for these episodes for me. If I had heard any one of these episodes 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 5 years ago, even like until 3 years ago or 2 years ago, it would change my life completely. And I can only imagine if I heard them 10 years ago or 15 years ago or 20 years ago. But like, who cares? I need to do it because I know that I'm going to get better. And I'm learning along the way, and I'm doing something. I am doing it. And confidence is, keeping the promises to yourself. You do things that you promise to yourself. That gives you confidence, my friend. Your confidence doesn't come from waiting. Your motivation doesn't come from like sitting and waiting for the motivation to arrive. Your motivation comes from taking action, like taking the action. Like, how interesting. Like, the energy needs to move already for you to feel motivated. It's not going to come when things are still. It might. I always had motivation, but my thing was that I was self-sabotaging myself in a very like sneaky way, and it had many different shapes and forms. And I'm going to I'm going to continue sharing parts of my story as well. But your motivation and your self-confidence doesn't come from waiting or like becoming something one day. Or I don't know, it doesn't come from like success. It comes from keeping the promises you make to yourself. When you make a promise to yourself, you do it, you take that action, that gives you crazy confidence. That's all. So imagine like when you know that something is necessary to do and you don't take that action, that of course brings you down. And it's like a loop, and it gets worse and worse. And there are things that you can do. I'm going to tell you 3 things that you can do. First of all, there is usually frustration involved in there, or some kind of anger, criticizing, so much like in your mind. You're so in your mind that you're not going to like get things done that will really fulfill you or satisfy you. So, the first thing is move your freaking body. Move your body however you want to. You dance it off. You can use like vocals, like, I don't know, go someplace where you can shout, scream, like use your voice, like use vibration, get it out of your system. Not like just getting out of your system, like so that it moves through you. Like, especially as we women, we need to move because we go through a lot of emotions during the day. So we need to move our body so that it gets released and it transforms more easily. We store it in our body. If we don't move, we store it in different parts of our body. And it feels like, it's like a loop, it just like gets worse and worse. And it's so related to our breath, how we use our voice, how we use our body. So move your body. If you're a man, woman, doesn't matter. Move your body. Go out. Just go outside and just move your body. So you're not in your head, because the more you're in your head, the more paralyzed you become and you don't take action. And that's just the loop. It just gets worse. So first thing is that move your body. The first thing that you do. Second thing. So you look at it this way. It's not just about now. It's not just about the last couple of years. It's not just about my adult life. It comes from somewhere. Maybe you're already aware of it, like where it's coming from, what parents, both parents, how they were talking to you. You know, it can even be like, I see sometimes parents being so critical about their, like, the things around them, like other people. Wherever they go, they're always unsatisfied. And like high school kids, they're always criticizing something. I'm just giving this example from like Turkish people, by the way. I don't see that. I don't see this example a lot in the Western world, but in Turkey, like, people love criticizing and they think they're more, what do you call that? Like sophisticated if you like don't like things, which is like super stupid. But, you know, if you are criticizing things, your child will be so judgmental, not just to the world, but imagine how judgmental they will be towards themselves. So like, don't do that. And if you're listening to this, you're not one of them, but like, yeah, I'm just putting it out there. It's just so stupid. So who criticized you when you were a toddler, a baby, a child, a teenager? Who criticized other things, people around you? So you thought that, oh my God, everything needs to be perfect for me to be enough, for me to be lovable, for me to do something that is enough, for my work to be enough, for my work to be enough for this father or that father, like my mom, my dad, whoever it is, it has to be this. Like gigantic, whatever, you know, for it to be enough for this person so that I can find it enough in myself. And like, that's just like a lot of, there might be a lot of narcissistic tendencies in that story. So we are here to be open. We are here to see the real truth behind whatever. Someone having narcissistic tendencies towards you in certain areas of your life does not mean that they're narcissistic towards you in all areas of your life. It doesn't mean that they're good, bad, good parents or bad parents. Like, I don't care about this. As you know, I'm never interested in this. I'm interested about what happened. What did they say? What did they do? How did this impact you? And was it coming out of love or fear or narcissism? What was that doing it to you? So if this is your first episode, please go back to my other episodes and listen to them as well. And so it would I'm sure it would help you bring more clarity to your situation. So I was listening to this podcast, which, like, I really admire her. And she was talking about business and how people don't feel enough, so they don't take the action. And she kept on talking about, you know, where is this coming from? Blah, blah, blah. But like, people don't go into family stuff for some reason. And it's like so obvious. Like, it is time that we start talking about this stuff. It is time that we don't, this is very important. It is time that we understand and acknowledge that we are not a minority when we have parents who have narcissistic tendencies, that it does not need to make our family or our parents this or that. Like, we don't need to care about that. It's not about that. It's about the real truth of what was happening in a pattern consistently, and how, like, in narcissism, it is done consciously because they know the effect that it will bring onto you. And they do this. They don't need to necessarily think, oh, I'm going to say this thing so he or she feels like shit, so they continue their life this way. They don't need to feel that way. They just do it so that they prove to themselves, first of all, life is all about challenge, hardship, competition, blah, blah, blah. And they also feed off of seeing you like that. And they think that they have to always be superior in order to feel something good about themselves. So they even compete with their children. And this is not a minority thing. This is like millions and millions and millions, if not billions of people are going through right now. So it is time that we acknowledge, like, it doesn't make us good or bad, or that person good or bad. Like, that's not important, because good people do bad things, bad people do good things. That's not what's important, because that kind of narrative comes from shame. And it is time we look at our shame, see our shame, embrace our shame, but not live our life out of that. So it is time that we just accept that things come from family. It begins in the family. Whatever challenges you have in your life right now, it begins in the family. Like, I can give you 100 examples of whatever your situation is. It begins in the family, but it starts and ends with you. As we become adults, it's our responsibility to change our life around. And for that, the number one thing is clarity. The number one thing that changed my life, that saved my life, was clarity. Nothing else. Just clarity itself changes everything. And for that, we need courage. We need to be courageous. We need to be super honest with ourselves. And we should stop looking for validation from outside if we really went through that experience or not. And it is not easy, my friend. It's not easy to accept that someone that you love so much did this or that to you. But once you see it for what it is, and once you understand that it's not just your experience in the world, it's a lot of people. And I mean a lot of people going through similar stuff, if not the same story, but similar feelings, emotions, situations, things. So many people. So it's not just you. So it doesn't make you different. If we have this honesty with ourselves, and if we see clearly for what really happened and how much of an influence it does, because small things are actually big things. Small things are actually big things. For children, small things are actually huge things. So once we start looking at this, and we are courageous and we are accountable, so we take accountability of our own lives, it's not about blaming someone, but it's really about creating clarity and creating healthy boundaries. So the third thing I would guide you to do, the third thing is, once you find out what happens, then in order to change the story, change the story in your head about yourself, most importantly, and then about life, like general things, work, life, making money, whatever, success, but mostly about yourself. To change that, you need to take action. You need to create healthy boundaries. And this friend, I can share this because I'm not sharing his name, but he's moving to another city, and I was so happy for him. It's like a great move for his work, but also he's stepping away from his hometown, and he's going to have a physical separation with the people that he spent his most time with. And he is going to have the opportunity to be in his own space, to be in his own energy. Because once you begin creating the healthy boundaries, really understanding what happened, and now what small things like facial expression, tone of voice, some comment, a simple, seemingly innocent question really makes an influence on you. And in order to change its influence on you, first you need a break. You need to be certain that that is not love. That does not come from love. It comes from fear, whatever, narcissism, dark energy, something else, not love. It's not love. It was never about love. That thing was never about love. Other things might be, and that's okay. And you can have great relationships with these people, by the way, if you want. It doesn't change anything. I think you can even become closer if you do it the right way. If you really follow your heart, you can become even closer if you want to, if it's healthy for you, if that is your situation, whatever the situation may be. But when you start creating these healthy boundaries, then you start seeing the results. When you are in your own energy, wow, you get so much more thing done, not just to feel productive in an unhealthy way. I mean, you take actions, you see that, oh yeah, I'm functioning differently in the world. I can see this. I can like your life feels different. The energy of your life, like the constant feeling of your life, is different because you are not sabotaged in ways that are really hidden. And like I always say, sometimes it only takes one meal to really get you out of your way. And once you become trained, like you know your energy, you know what your boundaries are, you know what the truth is and what is not the truth, then you can become more resilient. Then you know your tactics, what to do in that situation. And please listen to all other episodes as much as you can on Reunite with Self, where I share with you the things that you can do in any relationship where there is some dysfunctionality, where there was some wounds, any narcissistic tendencies. They don't need to be a narcissist if this is the first time you're listening to this. They don't need to have the narcissistic personality disorder. They might have it, but they don't necessarily need to have in order to have great influence on your life. And it's time that you take the ropes of your life and have the control of your life, like that you are creating your life, that you are the one creating your life, not someone else. And so that the things that never belonged to you in the first place do not get you paralyzed, because the stuff that get you paralyzed, my friend, did not even belong to you in the first place. Those limiting beliefs, they never belong to you. They don't come from within. They rarely come from within. They're usually, and maybe even if they do, they're, I think, triggered in this lifetime by a parent, like so constantly that they create this wound. So they just need to like touch it for it to be again so activated. So the self-limiting beliefs, they never belong to you. They don't come from you. So you can let them go. And there are things that you can do. And this is why I'm doing this podcast. So I look forward to being with you on the next episodes. And I hope this served you in any way. Please let me know. I always love receiving DMs from you at Kevela when there is something that you took away from the episode. If you have any more, like if you want a deeper conversation around anything, if you have any questions, if you want to give some information about your situation, your story, without sharing your name, I'm going to do an episode based on your question. I love you so much, and I'll see you on the next one. My gorgeous listener, if you had any takeaways from this episode or from this podcast in general, I would love to know. Please share this episode with a few loved ones right now. You never know how they can benefit from something so small. And please take a screenshot of this episode and share on IG, tagging me at Kevela. That is KHEWELLA. Kevela. That is my goddess wear brand, my Instagram page. I would love to know what your takeaway was, or something you found inspirational, or a confirmation you believe in as well. That would make my day. And you can always DM me if you have a topic or a certain question in mind that you want me to talk about. And give me a 5-star rating if you feel like it. That would help this podcast immensely to get the word out. I love you. See you on the next one. I want to see you shine your brightest.